Rachel Reeves is closing down sale, and it's no joke. Beals, a department store that has been around for 140 years, is closing its doors for the final time. And why? Because of Labour's jobs tax. Rachel Reeves' jobs tax, as well as a raft of other business costs, hit Beals with a £200,000 bill. A tragedy for 30 employees here in Poole, who are all losing their jobs. Owner Tony Brown calls it exactly what it is.
It is a Rachel Reeves closing down sale.
If Labour continues down this road, our high streets won't just be struggling, they'll be gone. Labour promised not to raise taxes on working people, but ask anyone running a business. They're working people too. Rachel Reeves has broken trust, and her budget is breaking Britain. It doesn't have to be this way. Conservatives will do what Labour won't. Backing businesses, backing jobs, and making sure that our country doesn't become one giant closing down sale.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Rachel Reeves is running Britain's economy like it's a dying retail chain circling the drain. If this is her economic vision, then we're all just shoppers in the clearance aisle of a country that's being liquidated one policy at a time. The truth is painfully obvious. Labour doesn't understand business, and Rachel Reeves is Exhibit A. This so-called shadow chancellor has spent the last year parading around with vague slogans about economic stability while actively spitting in the face of the private sector. Her obsession with austerity cosplay, trying to look fiscally responsible to appease the city, has left actual entrepreneurs, small business owners, and investors out in the cold. This isn't leadership. It's a closing down sale. And the everything must go sign is hanging right above Britain's competitive edge. Take a look at the fact. Business investment is faltering. Entrepreneurs are suffocating under bureaucratic nonsense and tax uncertainty. Reeves' recent statements on green investment are so riddled with delays, caveats, and cop-outs that the entire policy reads more like a refund receipt than a bold vision. And her pro-business image? Manufactured nonsense. She's dodging corporate engagement while pushing a Labour agenda that punishes innovation and rewards mediocrity. She can't even commit to the most basic pro-growth positions. While global economies are turbocharging tech, energy, and infrastructure, Reeves is too busy signaling to The Guardian's comment section to realize she's strangling the very sectors that drive productivity. Her refusal to reverse Tory tax hikes, her bizarre hostility toward wealth creation, and her silence on regulatory reform all point to one thing. This isn't a revival. It's a liquidation. Rachel Reeves isn't saving the economy. She's putting it on the shelf with a red sticker and hoping no one notices until the shelves are bare. And make no mistake, if Labour takes power under her leadership, the only booming industry will be for sale sign. The woman talks about economic security, the way a failing shopkeeper talks about rebranding before shuttering the windows for good. So let's call it what it is. This is Rachel Reeves closing down sale. And Labour is the bankrupt chain pretending it still knows how to trade.
What do you think when you heard Sir Keir Starmer talk about we risk becoming a nation of strangers, these forces tearing us apart? This is language you wouldn't have heard the PM say, I think, before the elections.
You wouldn't have heard the PM say it at any point in his life. This is not the conversation of the North London dinner party set, believe you me. No, I mean, many of the things he said are the same things I've been saying for over 20 years. And that's Starmer's problem. Insincerity. What does this man actually believe in, other than trying to keep power for its own sake?
He says he means, to be fair, he says he means it. I believe it. I'm saying it. I believe it. He's saying it. He did say 5 times he wants to take back control. That was your rival campaign's slogan from 2016.
No, I was using take back control in 2004. Yeah. So no, I mean, look. This is wholly insincere at every level, and whatever happens, there are still massive loopholes here for overseas students, and net migration is still going to run under this Labour government at many hundreds of thousands a year. And All of this on the same day when we see hundreds of people, young men, crossing the English Channel. I would ask the Prime Minister, how confident is he there are no Iranian terrorists on those boats this morning? And he was asked a question. One of the journalists asked him about the ECHR. He's utterly committed to staying part of it. Indeed, his second speech as Prime Minister in the House of Commons was his love of the ECHR. Nothing is going to change. And I think today, we'll look back on today a little bit like Rishi Sunak's pledges. Stop the boats. Remember that? Rishi, stop the boats. He didn't stop the boats. It cost the Conservatives very, very dearly in the general election. So to return to your original question, am I worried? No, I'm afraid not. If he was to succeed with all of this, I'd praise him to the heavens, but he's not.
That's Starmer's problem. Insincerity. What does this man actually believe in, other than trying to keep power for its own sake? That single line from Nigel Farage cuts deeper than any policy critique, because it doesn't just question Keir Starmer's leadership. It demolishes the illusion of conviction that Labour has been desperately trying to project. And when Farage, a political figure who's built his entire identity on confronting the establishment, accuses Starmer of being hollow and opportunistic, it hits a nerve that many voters have felt, but couldn't quite articulate. At the heart of the criticism is one word: insincerity. Starmer shifts positions with the wind, not because he's evolving, but because he's calculating. From Brexit to nationalisation to immigration, his stance isn't guided by principles, it's guided by polling data and media optics. And nowhere is this more blatant than in Labour's new immigration white paper, a document that pretends to address mass migration while deliberately preserving the very mechanisms that enable it. Farage is right to say that nothing will change under a Starmer government. Behind the flashy language and rebranded rhetoric lies the same tired globalist consensus. Open borders in everything but name, managed decline, sold as humanitarian pragmatism, and an economy addicted to cheap imported labour while British workers are pushed to the margins. The white paper doesn't aim to reduce immigration, it aims to redefine it, dress it up, and sell it back to the public with softer branding. But Farage's most devastating observation isn't even about policy. It's about character. Keir Starmer looks and sounds like a man who believes in nothing but survival. He has no ideological spine, no emotional anchor, no core values to speak of. He isn't a conviction politician. He's a carefully engineered placeholder. The kind of leader who will say anything, promise everything, and mean absolutely nothing. And that, Farage argues, is not just weak, it's dangerous. Because when a country is facing a crisis of national identity, when borders are under pressure, public trust is eroding, and communities feel left behind, the last thing Britain needs is a prime minister who treats belief as a costume to wear on command. Starmer might think he can finesse his way into Downing Street by being all things to all people, but in doing so, he's becoming nothing to anyone. In the end, Farage's warning isn't just about Starmer. It's about the vacuum of leadership that's consuming British politics, where power is pursued not to shape the future, but to occupy space, to survive another news cycle, to climb another rung. And in that game, Starmer might win a seat, but he'll lose the country.